Ladies and Habibis, we are going to introduction to you rising star of South Asia. He is very well educated. He knows Islam and Christianity very well. He done what they said he can. He is Doctor.
Alhamdulillah.
Wait a minute, what are you doing, Zakir? You come out, it's not you. Habibi, take him out. Sorry, there was some problem. He's Adam Sikher.
Hello everyone, this is your favorite Murtid. Salamul Masih, peace of Christ be with each and every one of you. I hope you guys are having fun. And hello everyone. Your favorite Murtad is live once again, and I hope you guys are having a lot of fun and you have enjoyed your week. I was supposed to do a live stream this Sunday as well, but I could not. But I will do a live stream next Sunday as well with Lloyd Dijon for the part 2. For sure, we're going to do that. So now let's come to a little bit of a discussion on certain things. Uh, you know, there are certain things when a very known religious kind of a platform runs, it makes a hell of a difference. And when I heard this, um, Gad Saad, he's a professor in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, but he is from Lebanon, Beirut, and he's a Lebanese Jew. All right, he's a Lebanese Jew, but at the same time, he's not a practicing Jew. In fact, if we look at it, he's not a very you won't see a cap on his head, which is like a proper Jewish thing to wear. He's a very liberal kind of a person, and because of his university degrees and because of what he's doing, uh, Joe Rogan invited him. That's a very long discussion, around I think 3 hours, 50 minutes long discussion, or a podcast. That's a new word for these kind of discussions and talks in the market. And so Joe Rogan did a very long podcast with him, and it's over 3 hours. But then again, in that long podcast, there's like a 10 minutes in the middle, which things went into a little bit of Islam and Judaism and the state of Israel. And that part is a blast in itself, literally speaking. It's literally a blast in itself. And I was like, I need to have some words on this. I know those were big podcasts, and there are millions and millions of subscribers watching them and all that. But at the end of the day, there are things that you can know when you see these kind of podcasts, and you will know, like even Joe Rogan was was surprised, kind of shocked, and he was literally shocked of what happened, because those things are literally shocking that came out of the mouth of Saad. And whatever Saad said, it's definitely in the Quran, it's definitely in the Hadith, and it's definitely in the Tafsir. And I'm not going to just say stuff, I'm going to show it to all of you. All right, I'm going to show it to all of you so that each and every one of you will have the data that will be backed up with that. Come on, man, how can he be an ex-Muslim? He's Jew. Jew is Jew by birth, is a lineage, and he's a Lebanese Jew. He's not an ex-Muslim. All right, so with that being said, let's look into what he said before we continue. And I would like to put it out the link for the Muslims as well, to refute. So if any Muslim would like to come up and say that whatever Saad is saying is wrong, or whatever I am presenting as a proper evidence for what Saad is saying, they're more than welcome to join in. I have no issues. So once again, as always, my my live streams are open live streams, and anyone can actually come up and refute if they have the data to refute me. So with that being said, we gotta first listen to the discussion that Saad and Joe Rogan did, because without listening to this discussion, you will not comprehend what he's saying. So just listen, and then we'll talk about this right after that video.
Jewish state exists in the Middle East. So look at all other religious minorities across Arabia. Egypt used to be completely Coptic Christian, 100%, many hundred years ago. Today there are 10% Copts left. What happened to those Copts? There used to be tons of Christians in Syria. What happened to those Syrians? There used to be tons of Christians in Lebanon. There still are some, about 30, 35%, but Lebanon used to be a majority Christian country. So the goal of Islam, not individual Muslims, right? Again, I don't need to preface by saying there are millions and millions of lovely, kind, peaceful Muslims. Of course there is. But Islam as an ideology, does it tolerate others? Well, we have 1400 years of history that either says it does or it doesn't, right? We don't have to watch TikTok videos. And nothing could be clearer than what the words of Muhammad were, the prophet of Islam, who said that you need to rid Arabia of Christians, but certainly the Jews. So the existence of the land of Israel is an affront to that. One more point, I'll cede the floor back to you. In Islam, there's a concept called Dar al-Islam and Dar al-Harb. That means the house of Islam and the house of war. Anything that's under the Islamic control is good. Anything that's yet to be under Islamic control is under the house of war. Once a territory is under Islamic control and you lose it, you have to get it back. It is your dominion forever. This is why, for example, Andalusia, which was at one point controlled, which is in current Spain, which was controlled by the Moors, an Islamic conquistador, a lot of jihadists will say, inshallah, we have to reconquer Andalusia. It is our land, because once it's under... So Israel existentially cannot exist. So why am I saying all this? You can't have peace if you have the other side that truly never wants for you to exist. That's the bottom line. If you can change people's heart where they say, look, I get a piece of land, you get another piece, let's build an incredible, vibrant co-society together, you'd have peace. But if you're taught from straight out of the womb that the Jews is the reason for every calamity in the world, you're not going to have peace.
But don't you think that there are Jews and there are Israelis that treat Palestinians as if they're less?
There is that in Texas in terms of treating people who are Hispanic. The darkness of the human heart is not monopolized by one group. There are super nasty Jews and there are incredibly lovely and kind Jews. There are super nice Muslims and incredibly brutal Muslims. So there is no monopoly on the darkness of the human heart. So I concede that. Of course, there are Jews that are not very keen on having Palestinian neighbors. But
All right, now this is the first segment. Like, literally speaking, he has said a lot of stuff, and I was not expecting this kind of a discussion to be happening on Joe Rogan's channel. It's like such an odd moment of this kind of discussion to happen in Joe Rogan's kind of podcast channel. But sometimes things goes into a tangent where sometimes these things just comes out, and this is one of those times. you know Muhammad said in his deathbed, one of his last words. So Muhammad has a lot of last words, right? Last words of Muhammad are a lot, but one of the last word was that get rid of Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. Like, literally, Yeah, that if you want to talk about the true last words of Muhammad, it was like, get me uh, a tray, and then he urinated and he died. But you know, in reality, when we talk about the last words of Muhammad, we don't take that last word as last word, because that was like really disgusting and people do not want to, you know, talk about it, and especially the Muslims do not want to talk about it. But they take the last words as the last like 2 days or 3 days of last words, because that kind of makes sense a little better for them to do that, you know. And someone says that the last words of Muhammad is, you know, curse be on the Jews and Christians, because they have taken their prophets' graves at the place of worship and so on and so forth. But in reality, there are a lot of last words of Muhammad, and Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, and all these Siyasita, the Sahih 6 books actually have some disagreement with each other. That were the last words of Muhammad, and one of those were, remove the Jews and Christians from the Arabian Peninsula. And that is why, you know, you cannot actually have peace. You cannot have an Israeli state, a Jewish state, because Israel, because Arab is not a very small area. It's a huge land, and they think Israel is part of Arabia, Arabian Peninsula. For example, it's Mishkat. It says, Umar bin Khattab said that I have heard God Messenger saying, I will certainly expel the Jews and the Christians from Arabian Peninsula, so as to leave only Muslims in it. What is Arabia? Is it Makkah and Medina only? What part of Arabia? How big is that Arabia? It says Min Jaziratul Arab. So the Jazira means, in reality, if you look at it, it's like a land which is occupied by water, the whole land. So you want to remove every Jew and Christian from this land. We have multiple on that. You have the Sunabi Dawood, and you have, you know, another Sunabi Dawood. I'll certainly expel Jews and Christians from Arabia. You have Sahih Bukhari. May Allah curse be on Jews and Christians, for they build the place of worship at their graves of the Prophet. So there's a curse upon them, and so on and so forth. And there's so much that you would not know, because it's really difficult to see how derogatory those comments were uh, for the Jews and the Christians. And that's what it is. In reality, it becomes so difficult for any Jew and Christian to live in this land, because that's what Muhammad said. And then Saad was actually talking about the history, and he said there's a 1400 years of history. He talks about Egypt. Egypt was a Coptic Christian land where there was like 90% all Christians. And right now, you know what is happening in Egypt, so far and so forth. You know that very well. And Lebanon was also one of the early lands of Christian. They were like almost 90% Christians there. But then Muslims started to come out and started to fight with them, impose jizya on them, such a hefty jizya that they won't be able to pay. And eventually, what happens is they either leave that country or they accept Islam, because there is no other way to live. Syria was a very mixed cultural area where there were Jews, there were Christians, there were other ethnic groups, and everyone. It was a very mixed kind of a. And right now, you know what is happening in Syrian war and everything. So Saad is Saad is not backing it up with the Quranic verses or the hadiths, but he is also backing up his claim with the 1400 years of history, and that fully makes sense. And then he talks about the house of war and house of Islam, Darul Harb and Darul Islam. This is the tenant of Sharia, and when you look at this tenant of Sharia, you'll know it's just so interesting to look at it from this perspective. Spain, Andalus. If you have not thought about it, you know, Spain is the land where finally the Crusaders started to fight back in 1040 onwards, 1040 AD onwards, and they freed Spain after 50 years of battles, and they finally freed Spain from Muslimin. So now, even now, those Muslim leaders wanting to get Spain back, the Andalus, they want to get Andalus back. And that is how it works. So you would see how this whole idea of predominantly not being able to coexist with anybody else is part of the Islamic regime or Islamic mindset. It is in the Quran, it is in the Hadith, and it is defined by the history of it. And I'm very happy that Saad actually brought that up. He literally brought it up with Joe Rogan, because no other, I don't think anybody else would actually do that. And then that is why he says that it is not possible for Israel to coexist, because when the mindset is that we are not going to coexist, we want our land, our rules, our law, then Israel cannot coexist. And for that, you don't have to go 1400 years ago. You just have to go 50 years back. In 1947, like 70 years back, sorry, 70 years back. In 1947, this land was divided into two parts, exactly the way India was divided into two parts, Pakistan and India. I'm from Pakistan. A lot of people in my live stream are from Pakistan, and a lot of people are from India. So Pakistan was a part of India. So India was divided into two parts. In 1947, same as the way this land was divided into two parts, Palestine and Israel. But then nobody accepted it from the Palestinian area. The Palestinian area Muslims never accepted it. And then these Muslims, it's not just they did not accepted it, it's not that they did not just rejected it, they went over and above that there are 5 countries around this land. They joined forces, they joined hands and attacked a very small newly created country named Israel. At that particular time, it was just a new country. There was a 1949 war, then there was a Sixth Day War in 1967, and if you look at the Sixth Day War, this is one of the most dramatic war that you could think about. This war had Israel on one side and Egypt, Syria, Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon, 5 countries on the other side. The Six Day War, if you look at it, Israel had around 250, quarter of a million troops. But when we look at the strength of the 5 countries, they have over 500,000 troops. Israel had around 300 aircrafts. But if you look at the other side, they had 800 aircrafts, almost 2 times more than Israel. Israel had 800 tanks. And you know how many these 5 countries had? They had over 2,500 tanks. And yet, Israel defeated them, destroyed them, obliterated them. Yeah, they lost a lot of people. Yes, they did. But yet, they destroyed them, obliterated them. But was Six-Day War was the only war? No, 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 no. They did not stay there. Then they started another war with the Palestinian Liberation Army. And then that war was on Yom Kippur, on the holy day of Israel, another war, the Yom Kippur War. If you talk about Yom Kippur War, it was even more heinous and with more power. In this war, you had Egypt, you have Syria, you have Saudi Arabia, Morocco, and Cuba as well. So they got the power from Cuba as well. You had all over 1 million troops on one side and only 350,000 troops on the other side. Do you think that even makes sense? 1,700 tanks on Israel side and then 3,500 plus tanks on the other side. 3,000 armored carriers on Israel side and over 1,700 artillery units and 4,000 armored carriers on the other side. 440 aircrafts on one side, and on the other side is 450 aircrafts, 140 helicopters, 104 naval vessels, and 150 surface to air missile. So imagine these wars were heavily on the Muslim side, yet they were not able to do anything to Israel. And that's how it is. And these wars happens and so on and so forth, and that was a never-ending story. But you know, how can you say that yes, they can coexist? Saad is absolutely right. They cannot coexist. Because at the end of the
Someone who
day,
grew up
I'm sorry, because because if you look at it from a broader perspective, every single person who wants Palestine or Palestine, you know, when you ask them, okay, we can give you back the Palestine which was in 1947. They'll be like, no, we want from the river to the sea, river to the sea, river to the sea. That's how BS it is. They don't want to coexist with Israel. They want the whole land. So Saad is actually telling the truth and right on the spot when he's speaking to Joe Rogan. And the reality is that when we look into the Quran, Palestine is mentioned 0 times. Zero. None. Nada. Zero. But Israel is mentioned 46 times. So imagine even Quran is saying that this land is Israel. It was given to the people of Israel. Bani Israel. They were called the people of Israel. They were in the Quran it is called people of Israel, the Bani Israel. So imagine this whole idea, this whole notion. And let me play a little more now. I've discussed on what he said so far, and then I'll go into detail on how they actually talks about it. Let me play a little more, and you'll know.
in the two worlds, right? I'm an Arabic speaking Jew. I hang around with tons of Muslims. I hang around with tons of Jews. Have I ever somebody in my Jewish family say, "Oh God, I can't wait for us to eradicate the 1.52 billion Muslims in the world"? I've never heard that. Have I heard incessantly all the time about, inshallah, we'll get rid of the Jews? Every second. You just have to say, "Hi, Ahmad." The next line is, "God damn it, we got to get rid of the Jews." Now,
Very, very important point. And I would say this guy, because he lives in between Arabs, he knows it. This guy knows exactly what has happened with him. Because, Muhammad said, and there are multiple hadiths for that, not just one. I'm going to give you one here. It's a muttafiq alayh hadith, and it's written in so many locations, it's unbelievable. It says, the last hour will not establish unless the Muslims will fight against the Jews. And Muslim will kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree. And a stone or a tree would say, Muslim, come, servant of Allah, come. There is a Jew behind me. Come and kill him. But the tree of Garakad would not say it, for it is the tree of the Jew. And when I was in Pakistan and a lot of Muslim friends of ours, they're like, that is why Jews want their own land because they want to grow the trees of Garkad because they want to hide behind the tree of Garkad when Isa will come back and will destroy them and kill them. So imagine when Saad is saying this, and I listened to his podcast and I was like, Damn, man, this guy, this guy did not study Islam, but this guy has felt everything what is being said to him because he lived in Lebanon. He is a Lebanese Arab Jew. He heard these things. He heard these derogatory things. He heard these derogatory remarks every single day. Imagine how difficult it would be for him to listen to each and everything like this. Like, for example, let me give you a very nice example of it from UK Speaker's Corner. Just enjoy.
Wa alaikum.
Not wa alaikum salam. Why not wa alaikum salam?
Why are you going to teach me a lesson or something?
No, because I said peace be upon you. I said,
Yeah.
and you replied the and you rather than peace be upon you back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the traditional greeting is I say assalamu alaikum and you say wa alaikum salam. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's try again. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.
So the reason he's doing this
Yeah.
is there's a hadith that says you can't say wa alaikum salam back to a Jew.
Okay, anyone who comes to me, any Muslim who comes to me say Assalamu alaikum,
Yeah.
I will say Wa alaikum assalam.
Okay.
Right? But you are a Jewish.
I am a Jew.
Yes?
Proud Jew.
Okay, go and say to me. Go and say to me.
Wa alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum.
So you treat people
You treat
differently
Muslims
according
different.
to their religion.
You wish Muslims
how-
peace.
How divisive.
Wa alaikum.
So imagine this is what they are doing in UK. So imagine what Gad Saad, if I'm pronouncing his name right, would be hearing, listening, and feeling in Lebanon, which is now a majority Muslim country. So this is such a stupid ideology. You can't even comprehend sometimes. It's just you just sometimes it just goes beyond my mind to state even certain words. Like, for example, there are even articles written on this hadith. Let's read some. Can you say salam to non-Muslims? It is not permissible, firstly, to initiate the greetings of salam to non-Muslims. All right? You can't even initiate. They have to say first. The Prophet said, do not initiate the greetings to the Jews or a Christian, according to Sahih Muslim 2167. So you can't even initiate the greeting. So if some Jew or a Christian comes in front of you, a Muslim shouldn't be saying Assalamu alaikum. He should be quiet. He needs to wait for a Jew or Christian to state the greetings first. And then he has to just respond as wa alaikum. That is mean and to you. He cannot even say and peace be to you as well. So assalamu alaikum is peace be to you. Wa alaikum assalam means and peace be to you as well. But what do you say? To you as well. That's it. To you as well. Wa alaikum. To you as well. That's it. You can't say peace be to you as well. Because according to Muslims, according to Islam, the Jews and Christians cannot receive peace. They can't. You can't pray for them. You can't pray for the peace for them. It's crazy. It is literally crazy. And let me take you another article, which is actually mentioned somewhere here, and you have to click it and you'll go there from the same website, Islam QA. And check this out. Greetings to a non-Muslim first is prohibited because the Prophet said, do not initiate the greeting with the Jews and Christians. And if you meet them in the street, push them towards the narrowest path. But if they greet us, we have to respond to them, because the general meaning of the verse is, and he's giving the response. Now, imagine what is a narrow path. For the people who lives in the West probably do not know about what I'm going to tell you. But the people who live in India and Pakistan, they might have seen, maybe have seen when they were young in the villages and stuff like that, that the streets has a narrow path as well. And in that narrow path, you will have the kind of a open sewerage. The water that comes out of the house goes in there. The water that you use to clean your house goes through that. The rainwater collects in there and goes through that. So every dirt, water, and everything goes through that narrow area, and it's on the every street. And that's exactly what Muhammad is saying. A Jew and a Christian can't even walk with a Muslim on a street. He has to walk in the lower part of the street where the garbage, the dust, the bad water, the dirty water is flowing. The gutter water is flowing, but the gutters are actually, covered in the West. So like they are open. So it's the gutter is covered, but it's open there in the old times, in the old days. And that's how it is. It is really, really disgusting how the Jews and Christians are supposed to live in an Islamic society. Yet they can come to the Britain, and the Britain will take them with open arms. And you know what happens then? Then they take over. And that's where the next part is. So I'm going to put up the next part.
Palestinian neighbors. But as someone who grew up in the two worlds, right? I'm an Arabic speaking Jew. I hang around with tons of Muslims. I hang around with tons of Jews. Have I ever heard somebody in my Jewish family say, oh God, I can't wait for us to eradicate the 1.52 billion Muslims in the world? I've never heard that. Have I heard incessantly all the time about, inshallah, we'll get rid of the Jews? Every second. You just have to say, hi, Ahmad. The next line is, God damn it, we got to get rid of the Jews. Now, it's become a lot.
Is it really that common where you are?
It's as common as the heat in Texas. It is definitional. As a matter of fact, I introduced a game, I mean facetiously, but I mean it seriously.
Very important game. This is a very, very important game. So listen to what he is going to say now. Okay. By the way, previous part he said it's as heat in Texas, because Texas is near the equator, so it should be very, very hot. So it's like he's saying it's so very common. But this part, this game part, and you know what? I know this because I lived in Pakistan. I know this because every single problem is because of Jews. And listen to what he says.
6 degrees of Jew. So that's a play on 6 degrees of
Kevin Bacon.
Exactly. So I give you a calamity in the world, and you've got up to 6 causal steps to blame the Jew. So an Amazonian frog just died in the Amazon. Go. And so I will post these on Twitter, and people give answers.
Right.
Now, oftentimes they're just playing along, but that's the mindset. You got diabetes? Well, that's because the Jews who are controlling the pharmaceutical industry are not releasing the drug. I'll give you a recent one that I faced.
Okay.
So I put up a police lineup of some guys that had been caught in Huddersfield, which is a town in England, who had been grooming and raping young British white girls. And you may or may not know this, I'm not sure if we've discussed it in the past, in Britain, over the past 25 years, there's been an unbelievable industrial scale level grooming and raping of young white girls by Asian men. That's a euphemism for men of a certain religious heritage, but you say they're Asian. So their names are, let me summarize them for you. Muhammad, Ahmad, Muhammad, Ahmad, Muhammad, 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 Ahmad, Ahmad, Muhammad, Ahmad, Ahmad, Muhammad, Ahmad, Muhammad. Okay? So I put those up, and I sarcastically said, I don't have a big enough brain to do the big data analytics to understand what is the commonality across all those gentlemen. Could anybody help me? Do you know how many people wrote to me and blamed it on the Jews? Not facetiously. So now I'm going to ask you, Joe.
How?
I was just going to ask you that. How is it when 3 Muhammads rape your 12-year-old British girl, you blame it on Mordechai? 3 Muhammads lead to Mordechai. Tell me how. You tell me.
I don't know. How do they do it?
Who let them in? It's the Jewish cabal who controls immigration policy. It's George Soros, the Jew, who controls the open society ideology.
I don't think you could really just connect George Soros to Jewish. If you look at his policies, he seems.
Have you seen the face of Joe Rogan ever like this? Have you seen him in this kind of a flat, shocked face? I haven't. Like he's always a very, very active speaker and engaging and everything. Like look at how shocked he is. He is literally shocked. Let me rewind a little. Let me rewind a little. Now look at his face again.
Immigration policy. It's George Soros, the Jew, who controls the open society ideology.
I don't think you could really just connect George Soros to Jewish. If you look at his policies, he seems anti-Western civilization.
I agree, but for the Jew hater, any causal
So
explanation.
one individual who just happens to be Jewish.
Or they point to some other one. There's one I don't even know who she is. I think Barbara Lerner or something. Somebody will correct us in the comment section, where they show her saying something. Oh, you know, we need to flood, and she happens to be Jewish. But for every Jewish person who is pro open door policy, there's a counter Jewish person. Here's one who is not for open border policies, right? Stephen Miller, who worked in the Trump administration, is Jewish. He's probably the biggest anti-open door immigration. So, but that's the mindset of the Jew hater. Everything is blamed. There's this incredible diabolical feature of the Jew that they're able to at times pretend that they're victims, but really they're diabolical and genocidal. It's grotesque, man.
It's weird. Sorry.
It's just weird that it became so out in the open. And
So, yeah. Joe Rogan, the most outspoken person, got shocked. He was in a shock. He was in a shock. He don't even know how to answer. He didn't know how to respond. He's like, what is this guy telling me? But isn't it true for everyone? Joe Rogan might not have seen it. Joe Rogan might not have heard about these things. But we have. I have. You guys probably had. And, you know, he was right on one point for sure, that no matter what happens, a frog dies in an Amazonian jungle, somehow it will be related to a Jew. His mother has diabetes, it's the Jews. Muhammad Ahmad doing rapes in Britain, it's because of the Jews. Everything is happening because of the Jews. Why? Because there is an inherent inbuilt hatred that this ideological cult teaches against the Jews. And that's what happens. And where is that hatred is coming from? It's coming right from the Quran. It's coming right from the words of Muhammad. They're right there. I'll go into a little detail, but before that, I'm going to read some super chats, and I'm thankful to all of you who are sending me the super chats. Mr. Raj Seeker said, good morning to everyone. Good morning to you as well, my friend. Mitranja said, I thought his last words were, bring me a bowl, I want to pee. Yes, these were his very, 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 very extremely last words, like right before he died. Yeah, didn't you see it? Yes, I did see it. But I was telling, like, as a Muslim, you know, there are so many last words. There are like at least 20 hadiths with the last words. Expel the Jews and Christians. God curse be on the Jews and Christians, and so on and so forth. There's so many of them, according to Islam. And obviously there are contradictory hadiths. All right, there are contradictory hadiths. Some says, bring me a bowl and I'll pee, and then he died. And some says otherwise. So there are contradictory hadiths. Happy Frenzy says, God bless you, dear brother. I love your work. Though sometime I may not be able to attend. Happy Frenzy, thank you so very much for being here. Appreciate it. God bless you and thanks a lot. Mitranji again said, my black Labrador poop today, which looks like similar to the words of Allah, how halal it is. Brother, trust me, you don't want any type of halal or haram poop. Just leave it alone. It's because of the Jew that your Labrador poop today. It is because of the Jews. It's not because of anything that he eat and he has to poop. It's because of the Jews. That's what it is. You need to understand that. Let's look into a little bit of the hatred. Where is it coming from? And I'm going to show it to you before I move forward. But because I've been speaking from over 40 minutes, let me give you a short break. I will be right back and we will talk.
Hello Habibis and Sheikh lovers. If you would like to support Adam Seeker, please go to Patreon and show your support. www.patreon.com/Adam Seeker. We thank you all for your kindly support and enjoy the video. By the way, this was a commercial break. And also, please don't forget to comment and like and also subscribe. You know, it's free, Habibis. Don't be tight like Muhammad and Muhammad's father, Abdullah, and Abdullah's father. Anyway, let's don't go in there. God bless you all. Please go to Patreon and make your donations. Only if you would like to support. We don't force like Muhammad. Hello, Habibis and Sheikh lovers. If you would like to support Adam Seeker, please go to Patreon and show your support. www.patreon.com/Adam Seeker. We thank you all for your kindly support and enjoy the video. By the way, this was a commercial break. And also, please don't forget to comment and like and also subscribe. You know, it's free, Habibis. Don't be tight like Muhammad and Muhammad's father, Abdullah, and Abdullah's father. Anyway, let's don't go in there. God bless you all. Please go to Patreon and make your donations. Only if you would like to support. We don't force like Muhammad.
And welcome back, everyone. Thank you so very much. I'm sorry today I am not feeling very well. My nose is kind of stuffy, so I'm breathing from my mouth and speaking from my mouth as well, so causing me to have some delays in speaking. Otherwise, you know, I speak very fast, but I'm sorry for the slowness in speech. But anyhow, we need to come to the hard topic, you know, and let's go to some very hard topics. For example, you know, even Allah is so unjust with the Jews and the Christians. You know, this is Sahih Muslim again, and it says there would come people among the Muslims on the day of resurrection with as heavy sins as mountain. So their sins are so big, they are like Mount Everest, K2, Naga Parbat, and so on and so forth. Huge mountain type sins, and Allah will forgive them. How can Allah forgive them? He would place in their stead the Jew and the Christian. There you go. So Allah will put the sins of the Muslims on Jews and the Christians, and that is how Allah is going to forgive the Muslims. Why? Oh, come on. Forget the why. Forget why. Why do you mean why? Bukhari 7157. A man embraced Islam and then reverted back to Judaism. He became a Jew again. Muad bin Jabal came and saw the man with Abu Musa. Muad asked, "What is wrong with this man?" Abu Musa replied, "He embraced Islam and then reverted back to Judaism." Muad said, "I will not sit down unless I kill him." Because that's the verdict of Allah and His Apostle. There you go. Why? This Jew reverted back? Really? How can he revert back? Jew? But like, once again, it's not just one Jew. Let's read more. Bukhari 3305. The Prophet said a group of Israelites were lost. So Muhammad had made Israel in his hadiths as Jews. Nobody knows what he did. They did. But I do not see them except they were cursed. Who? The Israelis. Israelis are cursed. A group of Israelis cursed and changed into rats. Allah made them rats, mouse, Mickey Mouse. For it, if you put the milk of a she camel in front of a rat, it will not drink it. Because according to the Bible, camel is not kosher. You can't eat camel meat. You can't drink camel milk. But if the milk of a sheep is put in front of it, it will drink it. There you go. How disgusting it is that you will say that the Jews are rats. And then again, it's not just Muhammad said he's going to kill all of the Jews. This is Kitabul Jihad, the book of jihad. The lovey-dovey jihad that you do with your inner self, with the jihad that you do with your baby, that jihad, okay? Inner self, fighting with the shayateen kind of a jihad, that jihad, inner self jihad, fighting with the shayateen kind of jihad, that's the book, okay? Let's check what this book is saying. We were sitting in the mosque with the Messenger of Allah, came to us and said, let us go to the Jews. Let's go to the Jews, okay? Muhammad is saying, let's go to the Jews area. This is in Medina, where there were a lot of Jews before Muhammad expelled them out of Medina. We went out with them until we came to them, okay? People went out with Muhammad, went to the Jews. The Messenger of Allah stood up and called them. Muhammad said, all right, come here, every Jew. O you assembly of Jews, accept Islam and you be safe, okay? Accept Islam and you will be safe. What is the Jew saying? Jew saying, oh Abu Qasim, you have communicated. Means, okay, if you think you are a messenger, you have communicated what you wanted to say. Okay, done, go. The Messenger of Allah said it again. You should admit that God Messenger has been communicated to you. Accept Islam, or Jews, accept Islam and you would be safe. They said, Abu Qasim, you have communicated. The Messenger of Allah said, I want this. Means, accept Islam or else. He said to them the same word the third time. He added, then Muhammad added, you should know that the earth belongs to Allah and His Messenger. Earth, the whole earth belongs to Allah and Muhammad. And I wish that I should expel you from this land. And that's exactly what Muhammad did eventually. Those of you who have any property should sell it. So sell your property before I expel you out. So now Muhammad is giving them an explicit threat that, hey Jews, you are not accepting my message. I'm going to tell you, get out, sell your land. Right now is the time. We'll buy the land in cheap, because later on you won't be able to do anything. That's exactly what he did. Hey, rational Muslim, why don't you join in? What's the problem? I'm showing you hadiths. I'm not saying anything of my own. If I'm lying, come and prove it. That Sahih Muslim, Sahih Bukhari, Mishkat al-Misabi, the Siyasita, and now I'm going to show you the Quran as well, that they are all wrong. They're all wrong. And don't delete any comment, guys, moderators, until the person is using a derogatory remark using mother, father, private parts, or spamming. All right. So I'm showing your comment live over here on screen. Mr. Rational Muslim, prove me wrong. The link is there. Stop being a keyboard jihadi and join in, and we can have a talk. Let's see if you have guts. All right. So this is the reality, that the hatred for the Jews are inbuilt in the Islamic scriptures. Even for a female Jewishess, I don't even know how to pronounce that. So it's like a female Jew. Ali told that a Jewishess who was reviling the Prophet, saying bad things about Prophet, speaking evil of him. Obviously, Muhammad was evil. She's supposed to do that. Was strangled to death by a man. and the Prophet allowed no payment to be made for her death. So what kind of a prophet he is? Prophets were said many bad things. In the Jewish era, that is all okay. You can say something bad to the Prophet. The Prophet has to prove that he is a prophet, not the other way around. Look, there is an inbuilt hatred for Jews. So and so that Muhammad even said this. The Messenger of Allah used to stand up for the funeral. So when the funeral passes, he used to stand up until the corpse was placed in the grave. But you know what happened? A learned Jew one passed him and said, "This is how we do it." A Jew came and he said, "This is how we do it." And Muhammad said, "Sit down, everyone. We are not going to follow, we are not going to do what the Jews do." So imagine Muhammad's deen is not from Allah. It is in a hatred of Jews. So now every Muslim actually sits down in the near the graveyard, because Muhammad said standing in the graveyard with the funeral, it's following the Jews. So don't follow the Jews. That's pure hatred. That is pure hatred. How can you have this level of hatred for a particular community when they haven't said anything wrong to you? Muhammad came. Muhammad is the one who said that I am from the lineage of the same prophethood. He has to prove that, not the other way around. He has to prove that he belongs to the same prophethood line. Nobody else has to do that. But instead of proving, he was, removing everything that was actually being said to him. And then, multiple hadiths expel the Jews and Christians from the land of Arabia. Multiple hadiths. Mishkat actually says that as well. I showed you one part from the Abu Dawud. I think this is Mishkat. He told Umar bin al-Khattab that he has heard the God Messenger saying, "I'll certainly expel Jews and Christians." This is a collective agreed version. It's everywhere. You can't deny this hadith. No Muslim can deny this hadith. And Muhammad did that in his life as well, however much he could do. For example, Umar bin al-Khattab reported that Umar bin al-Khattab expelled the Jews and the Christians from the land of Hijaz, which is Arabia, that part of Arabia. And then when Allah Messenger conquered Khaybar, he made up his mind to expel the Jews from the Treaty of Khaybar. Because when the land was conquered, it came under the sway of Allah, that of his messenger, and that of the Muslims. The Jew asked Allah Messenger to let them continue there on the condition that they would work on it and would get it turn half of the fruits. Whereupon Allah Messenger said, "We would let you continue there as long as we will desire." So they continued to cultivate the land till Umar extended them to Tima, two villages in Arabia but out of Hijaz. Like he threw them out. So how can you coexist? There is no coexistence. When we read the Quran, when we read the Ahadith, there is no coexistence. Literally. Can you see any coexistence? There is none. And you know why it is happening till now? Because the last hour will not come until every single Jew is killed. That's how it is. That is literally how it is. At the end of the day. And I'm amazed that how can this kind of a discussion happen in Joe Rogan's channel? It is literally amazing. I loved it. I liked it. But I was it was very strange for me to see that. Quran, before calling them everything, Quran actually said, like every single Westerner who have heard from deceptive persons that Jews and Christians are Ahlul Kitab, it's stupidity. Because that's what Allah says. Do not take Jews and Christians as your friends, as your allies, Yahud or Nasara, because they are allies of one another only. And whoever is an ally of them is not from us, it's of them. He's not from us. It's how it is written. This is how it is written. How can you deny every single source? When Muhammad needed them, when Muhammad just immigrated and chapter number 2 came into being, at that particular time, he did give, oh, all the Jews and the Christians and the Nasara and the Sabi'ins are going to go into heaven. But then later on, when he had the power of men, he's like, all right, I don't need the Jews now. Let's remove them and let's kill them. That's what he did at Banu Qurayza. When he attacked the village of Banu Qurayza, that's exactly what he did. In one single night, Muhammad and his followers killed over 700 people in one single night. And that's where the laughing killer comes into being. I'm going to take a person. I know you guys won't like that person, but I need to give him 5 minutes before I end the stream. And I have one last section that I need to show it to you. But I need to take him. Yes, Sayed, what's the problem? Why do you come in when you know that you have no reference, no data, and you have your own version of Islam, which does not match with anything, and you should be going to the Muslim scholars channel, not to an ex-Muslim channel.
The Islam is the only religion where says we can marry Christian, Jew, we can eat their
Yeah,
food,
listen,
and
my friend.
so
Can you
you
eat a pork?
say
Can you eat pork?
what?
Can you eat pork?
No, Jew don't
Christian eat
eat
pork.
pork. We don't.
Christian.
Jew don't eat
Then
pork.
Christian. You said Christian
No,
and Jew. So will you eat pork with me?
no. We can
Okay, then
eat.
shut up. Next
We
point.
can, we
Then
can
shut
eat.
up and next point. Now, first point you said marry Jews and Christian. Okay, can I, as a Christian, can I marry your Muslim daughter?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you give me one single Quranic verse which says that a Jew or a Christian can marry a Muslim daughter?
It does not prohibit.
Get lost, son of a gun. That argument of silence, stupid. So that is why I said to you, go to a Muslim channel, convince them instead of trying to convince me. Brainless idiot. Literally, he's a brainless idiot. And I've told him so many times, you should not come to a non-Muslim stream. You should not come to a Christian stream. You should go to a Muslim stream, convince them first, let them write your version of Islam. And once they write your version of Islam, accept your version of Islam, then come and talk to me. Until then, just go and talk to them. Literally speaking, if you die tomorrow, the world will not have any impact whatsoever. Even your children will not even feel that you died because you are not even with your children. That is why you are here on every single video, everywhere, day or night. Even your children do not even want you. So I so wanted to do this with him again. He was deceiving another channel yesterday, and they gave him such a long time. It was unbelievable. I don't know why they did that. Anyhow, check this out how Muhammad was killing the Jews. Sunabi Daud 2671. No woman of Banu Qurayza was killed except one. All right, Muhammad doesn't kill women. He keeps them for his fellow men so that they could have sex with them. So women are always kept as a sex slave according to Islamic scripture. But who was killed? She was with me talking and laughing on her back and belly extremely. All right. You know, when you see a killing of so many of your own family members, so many of your own villagers, you know, sometimes you go mad, and that madness makes you laugh. It's just a level of pure anguish, pain, and anxiety that sometimes the woman starts to laugh when it sees such extreme terror. And that is what was happening with her. Why? Because he was seeing while the messenger of Allah was killing her people with swords. So she was laughing because she went into pure anguish and mental disorder. And you know what Muhammad did? Suddenly a man came, called her name. Where is so and so? She said, I asked, what is the matter with you? She said, I drew a new act. She said, the man took her and beheaded her. And the woman with that lady, she said, I will not forget that she was laughing extremely, although she knew that she would be killed. That laughter was not a laughter of a laugh. That laughter was laughter of anguish, pain, torment. That's what happens. That's the reality of it. This is how Muhammad vanquished Jews from his land. This is how he did that. This is how Muhammad vanquished the Jews from his land. So anybody who has the guts other than this guy who has his own Islam can join me and prove it to me that whatever I said is wrong. Because I can see certain people, maybe this is the same guy who has different YouTube IDs. If that is the same guy, then that's fine. Otherwise, if not, join in, Mr. YZ. Join in. If you are not the same Sayyid guy with a different ID, then join in. Prove it to me, and I will give you ample time to prove it to me if you are showing the references instead of just claiming something out of thin air. So I don't want you to claim something out of thin air. I want you to provide me with reference. And by the way, Mr. YZ, shame on you to believe on this pathetic person. Shame on you to believe in this kind of a pathetic person. And you call him Rahmat lil Alameen? Really? Is this how a Rahmat lil Alameen looks like? Such a pathetic, shameful character. Are you not ashamed of what Muhammad said? I only showed you what the Quran is saying. Am I? So if I'm reading the verses, check this out, guys. I am spreading hate. So because I'm reading the hadiths and the Quranic verses, I'm spreading hate, which means that Quran and hadith spread hate. We need to remove these books from the face of the planet Earth because they spread hate. I'm just a medium who is showing what is written in there. So hatred is being spread by the hadith and the Quran. So these books needs to be removed from the planet Earth because they are spreading hate. How can you say that a messenger is spreading hate? Messenger is only giving you the message which is said by somebody else. You should hate your prophet. You should hate your God. All right, guys, check this out. I don't speak Arabic. Guys, have I spoken Arabic in this my whole discussion? I'm reading the translations done by their own scholars. And yet I don't speak Arabic. Hey, YZ, come back, come up. Shame on you. Come up. I'll show you the Arabic and you translate. There you go. I will show you the Arabic. There you go, the Arabic. You join in, you read the Arabic, and you translate. I will listen. Imagine this. I'm such a humble person and such a nice person. I will allow you to translate. I will show you the Arabic and I will let you translate. Why don't you come up and translate? So imagine these guys are such silly human beings that when they don't have any refutation, a person like Mansoor comes up and he only talks about, I can't pronounce the words right. And that is how they refute the person. You don't know Arabic. You don't know Arabic. Dude, I know Arabic more than you. Hate is being spread by your own prophet. Such a demonic being that your prophet was. If he was not, come up. Every single thing that I've shown so far, I will bring it up on the screen again. And you read them and you translate them. Because at the end of the day, the only person that is spreading hate is your prophet. The only thing who is spreading hate is your Allah. Nobody else. So, this is what the reality it is. And you know what? Hey, Mr. YZ, just because of you, I was not going to show any of this today, but because of you, when you come in, I like to play something better. Let's see how the Sunnis, the Arabic speaking Sunnis, pray in their mosque. Check it out.
فأسأل الله أن يضرب الروافض بالأمريكان ويخرج أهل السنة منها سالمين يا رب العالمين. اللهم عليك بالروافض الأمريكان والشيعة، اللهم عليك باليهود فإنهم لا يعجزونه، اللهم اجعل المسجد الأقصى شامخا إلى يوم الدين. يا الله يا الله اجعل المسجد الأقصى شامخا إلى يوم الدين وأخرج إخوان القردة والخنازير من فلسطين أهل الأصاغرين.
You know what? Who is he saying pigs and apes? To the Jews, by the way. These are their prayers. This is how they pray.
اللهم اجعل المسجد الأقصى شامخا إلى يوم الدين وأخرج إخوان القردة والخنازير السفلة.
And now he is calling them pigs as well, apes and monkeys and pigs.
من فلسطين أذلاء أصاغرين. اي والله. لأنهم كل سبب القتل والتدمير سببه اليهود.
Now imagine these are called hatred, pure hatred. This is called pure hatred. He's saying the Jews are behind every single killing and destruction. Now he's putting Shias in them as well. I don't know why. Oh, obviously you know why. These are Sunnis. Sunnis hate Shias as well. Shias are the donkeys of the Jews, by the way. So imagine this is how they pray. So think how much hatred they have when this is a prayer for them. When this is a prayer for them, imagine what kind of a hatred they would say when they are not praying. Because when you are praying, you are trying to be near God, you are trying to be saying the right thing. If this is their prayer, imagine what is their not prayer. So Mr. YZ, now do you know Arabic? You have heard the Arabic as well. Was it sufficient, or do you want me to play more? I can play more just for you. I love Muslims so much that I will give them so much references to know that they are in a wrong place, in a wrong setting. They need to get out of this setting, literally speaking. You need to think twice. Let me show you. Maybe, guys, what about 10 people? Is 10 good? 10 Arabic speaking people would be sufficient. Let me give you 10.
نعادي يهود حتى ولو أعادوا إلينا فلسطين لأنهم كفار.
لو أن اليهود تركوا لنا فلسطين خلاص يبقوا حبايبنا؟ لا طبعا، عمرهم ما هيبقوا حبايبنا إطلاقا. عقيدتك في اليهود واحد أنهم كفار، اثنين أنهم أعداء، مش أعداء عشان يحتلوا فلسطين، وإنما هم أعداء ولو لم يحتلوا شيئا.
So he said, do you think Jews are the enemies because they have occupied Palestine? No, 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 no. Jews are the enemies because Allah said so, whether they occupy Palestine or not occupy Palestine. So basically, even when they will occupy Israel and make it Palestine, they will still hate Jews.
وإحنا كراهيتنا أو كرهنا لليهود من منطلق عقيدة.
Hating the Jews is the aqidah, the faith, the belief in Islam.
القرآن هو اللي بيدعونا ان احنا نكرههم وما نحبهمش.
هؤلاء يعانوا من حالة نفسية مضطردة مضطربة. والله مش أنا الذي أقول، القرآن الكريم وصفهم بأنهم لا يوجد لهم مثيل. لتجدن أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود. يهلك هيك قرفة ناس لا عندهم لا دين ولا مبدأ ولا ضمير ولا. أنا أستنكر ممن يؤمن بالتطبيع معهم، ممن يؤمن بالجلوس معهم، ممن يؤمن أن هؤلاء.
They are not even human beings, by the way. After saying everything, they have no aqidah, they have no faith, they are donkeys, they are whatever, ever. They are not even human beings.
بشر ليسوا بشر وليسوا أناس وليسوا لا بذوات دين ولا ضمير ولا أخلاق.
Man, how much of a hatred you can show, man? Seriously speaking, how much hatred can you show in less than 30 seconds? This is what that last guy actually did.
هؤلاء هم اليهود باختصار. وإن لنا عندهم نحن المسلمين لثأرا لا والله لن ينقضي إلا باستئصالهم بإذن الله تعالى.
أعداء المسلمين بعد إبليس هم اليهود.
The last one is, I love this last one, that the biggest enemy for the Muslim after the shaitan, after the devil, is Yahud. Am I saying that? Who's spreading hate? Am I spreading hate? This is the radicalized teaching of Islam, not me. I'm just showing, I'm just a messenger. YZ, what happened to you, baby? Have you started crying? YZ, was that sufficient? Was it sufficient Arabic for you? Mr. YZ, was this sufficient Arabic for you, my friend? The Abdul ran away because I was just giving him so much of an Arabic. Too much Arabic is not good for your health. He just ran away. That is what happens. So anyhow, I think that was more than sufficient for today. I'm not feeling very well, and so I'm gonna end the stream for now. And I hope you got some data. And man, literally speaking, I was shocked. I was shocked to see Joe Rogan shocked. And I was shocked that Saad would actually say that in a Joe Rogan podcast. It was literally amazing. It was literally an eye-opening thing. Because when somebody speaks in a Joe Rogan's podcast, 2 million people have been subscribed to his channel. So he can easily get like 500,000 to 1 million views. Very easy. And you know what that means? Those people are listening to Joe Rogan. They are getting the information. But once again, Saad was not able to give a lot of concise ahadith and the Quranic verses and everything. I just wanted to put my 2 cents there, that maybe somebody will see this and will have some data for the references. Mr. Kya Kehta Hai Quran said, we don't force like Muhammad. Good morning, Adam. Yes, sir. We don't force like Muhammad. Good morning to you as well. Cornel from Malaysia, I think. That's MYR. Indonesia. Let me see. Where is MYR? MYR currency. That is Malaysia. Yeah, Malaysia. I was right. Thank you so very much and appreciate it. So guys, let me see. This guy cannot be a Muslim. Let me see. Are you Muslim, my friend?
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Are you a Muslim, sir?
No, sir, but I want to just talk about something a little short, sir. No, it will not take more than 10 seconds, sir.
You already took 30 seconds.
Sorry, sir. Sir, मैं ये कह रहा था कि जैसे है ना
Okay. If you're gonna speak in Urdu, don't speak here. We are in an English channel. All right, guys. Thank you so very much for being here and listening to this. And I thank you all for being here. God bless you. Have a blessed day, evening, or night, wherever you are. I will see you again on Wednesday. Take care. Yeshua Akbarul Azim. Have a blessed day, evening, or night, wherever you are. Take care. God bless you all.